Welcome to SORMAG's Writers Cafe, where we share the real writer's life over a cup of friendship, sprinkled with laughter and wisdom. My name is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I'm your host for today. This episode's sponsor is Using Canva for Book Promotion video series. Have you wanted to try Canva.com but didn't know where to start? LaShaunda Hoffman created a series for you. Inside this series, you will learn the basics of Canva, how to create a biographic, a quote graphic, a book blurb graphic, an animated graphic, and bookmarks. These are graphics you can use to promote you and your books. The videos will take you step by step to help you create your own graphics you can use daily. Check the show notes for the link to Using Canva for Book Promotion video series and start creating graphics like a social butterfly. Today, sitting at the cafe with me is Jamicka Lakeya and LaShelle Turner. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi.
I have invited them to come in and chat with us, talk to us about their current books, and we will start with Jamicka.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today. My name is Jamicka Lakeya. By day, I am an office manager at a pediatric office. I am from a small town in South Carolina by the name of New Ellison. I published my first book, Behind Closed Doors, in November of 2018, and I just published my second book. It is called Inside of Her, and I published that on my 30th birthday, which was February the 5th of 2021. So I am going to read a small excerpt from my book, Inside of Her, which is available right now on Amazon, and this poem is called Angel Divine. For months, I carried you inside of me. I was excited from the time I found out to the time I heard your first heartbeat. I loved you tremendously, even before I met you, my precious child, my baby. My connection with you grew by the second, and I was in love deeply. With every kick, nudge, and movement you made was a blessing, and I was so blessed to have you because for you I had prayed. But as time went on, things started to change and started to take a drastic change. I didn't feel those flutters, those movements, and your heartbeat seemed to fade. The same beautiful life that was growing inside of me was unfortunately taken away and died inside of me. A love so strong, a love like I've never met, I had to let go. It tore me apart and broke my heart because I know I could no longer see or feel you grow. I would never get to hold my child in my arms or see them laugh or hear them cry. I couldn't even say hello before I had to say goodbye. The pain I went through, I honestly can't explain. But I just knew from then on out that life for me would never be the same. I'm still blessed to have felt you and witnessed some amazing parts. And even though you're not here physically, you'll always be in my heart. No matter what, I am still a mother, and my child is an angel divine. But God needed you more right now, and we'll be together in another lifetime.
Okay, you're trying to have me crying over here.
I'm sorry.
That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I just felt my little grandbaby in my daughter's stomach today, so I guess that's why I'm kind of emotional.
Congratulations.
She's 5 months pregnant, and I got to feel the little baby today. So I'm kind of emotional. Sorry.
That's okay.
You ready, LaShelle?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Hello, my name is LaShelle Turner. I am a contemporary romance author. In my daytime job or in my real life, I am an educator in the Atlanta area. I've been teaching for 8 years. I have self-published 2 books in 2020. Both are romance novels. The one I'm going to read from today is called The Price of Past Sins. Okay. Patrick stared at the large, dirty, faded yellow doormat underneath his feet. He studied the letter with his size 13 black shoes covering the E and the L completely. An image suddenly jolted his memory. This was the same doormat his grandmother, Alice, bought almost 20 years ago. Patrick smiled. He liked the idea of coming home to a piece of his grandma. It didn't surprise him it would be there, though. The woman he knew never threw anything or anyone away. Everything, no matter how old or how unwanted, had a use to her. God, how he missed her. Alice was a sage and an oracle along with a financial advisor all at once. Too bad it took him serving years of his life in his youth in a prison to realize this. Patrick gazed around the porch. He rocked back and forth, listening to the squeaky sound underneath his feet. From the outside, this place appeared to need a lot of work. He inhaled and pressed the cracked, dimly lit doorbell. It gave off a pitiful wail instead of a recognizable bell. He added this to his mental to-do list. After he slid his duffel bag onto his shoulder, he pressed the doorbell once more. "I'm coming," he recognized his sister's voice from the other side. He listened intensely as she unlocked the least 2 twist locks and 1 chain lock. Grandma Alice believed in safety. He wondered if that old .22 she had hid under her mattress was still there, or did they bury it with her? Remembering her words about them having to pry it from her cold, dead hands. That's my first page that's a page of my current novel.
Okay. Makes you want to go to the next page, that's for sure. So how are you all reaching new readers during this new time of sitting at home?
I would say social media.
Yeah, right now, like, Clubhouse has been, like, a really big thing for me right now to, like, promote my book and just promote myself as, like, a new author. And then Facebook and Instagram and the other social media sites.
So what made you get on Clubhouse?
So I just, like, saw a lot of, well, not commotion. I saw a lot of people talking about it on Facebook, and I was like, I want to know what this is. And, like, everybody was talking about it and how they were talking about, like, different topics and different subjects and how there were different rooms. And so I just wanted to see what it was. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that it would turn out to be, like, something so it's, like, helped me so much. And I didn't think it would be something like that. I just thought it was another, like, playful little social media site, but it's very beneficial.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear you say that because so many people shy away from trying different platforms because they're like, oh, it's just another platform. But I've had the same experience. I'm always trying something new just to see what it's about. So I love that's just my thing. I love the shiny things. So I like to try that stuff. But I'm telling you, Clubhouse is just totally different from all the other platforms, I think. Mm-hmm. I thought Periscope was fun, and I learned a lot of different things on Periscope, but I think this is Periscope to the its power. So I've been enjoying it. Highly recommend it if you have an iPhone to check it out. What I want to know, what made you guys want to be a writer?
Oh, I can go. Well, I can honestly say I never thought about anything but being a writer. I was one of those kids who loved to read, and when I used to read books all the time, so I think I want to do that too. I always thought I'd be a writer most of my life. So it was difficult to say that when people told me that you can't make money doing that. So I did something else, but I always knew I wanted to be a writer.
A lot of people always say that. They always say that to you, and I remember the first person that I met who actually, that's what he did for a living, was writing. I was so impressed with him because he was feeding his family. When you can feed your family, you're doing good. And I'm like, why do people always say that to people to turn them away? Because they don't know. Mm-hmm. You don't know. When someone tells you something like that and you turn yourself away from them, so no, you're not going to make any money because you got it. They put it in your head that you can't. And so you're like, no, let me try something else. Especially if they're not writers. Now, if it's a writer that's telling you that, they understand. But most of the time, it's people who tell you that they have not a clue. Have not a clue about what the job is, and then they discourage you, and then you trust what they're saying without trying it for yourself. I'm just saying from experience. But, it's horrible for people to do that to you.
I think it's because...
Yeah, it makes you shy away from it.
Yeah, I think it's because nobody really knows any what they call working writers.
But there are a lot of them. There really are a lot of people who work. It's hard. It's a lot of work. You're going to be writing a lot of books, if you're trying to feed your family. But, it's a lot of people who do it full time. And, so I just hate that when people discourage people for that. So what has your experience been as a new indie author? You guys are kind of newbies.
So I think for me, it's been really, really good. The only thing I've struggled with is marketing. I guess I didn't really think so much about it. Like, I knew I had to get my book and myself out there as an author. I thought it would be a little bit easier, but the marketing part hasn't, come natural to me. And so I know it's, way more beyond just posting on social media about your book. You really have to get out and do other things to promote your book.
Yeah, that's true. The surprise to me is how things can go, how they say viral, as the young people say, that that people are so willing, if you have a book, people are so willing to share it, and you'll be surprised where your work ends up. It does. And how did you ask yourself, how did they get it? How did they even know? How did they get in their hands?
Then that's good. And word of mouth is working for you that way. It's hard to get people to say something about your book unless they really, really like it. If for them to share without actually reading it yet is really hard. I think marketing is hard because we don't take time to learn it. We just think it's like writing, that it's going, like you said, it's going to come naturally. And but writing is naturally, but you still practice at it, And marketing is the same way. You have to practice at it. You have to find stuff that you like to do, and then you do that. A lot of people do stuff they don't like to do, and then they go, "That's too hard. I'm not doing it anymore." So that's the thing. I always try to tell my clients to find the fun stuff. If you can find the fun stuff, like, being on Clubhouse, that's fun. Find the fun stuff that you can do, and then do that. If it means being on Clubhouse every day, 1 hour, 2 hours a day to meet readers, then that's what you do. You like it. You're meeting readers. Now if you on there, you ain't meet no readers, you ain't make nobody buying a book, then maybe you might need to find another place to hang out. But you always look at your results. Look at the results of what you're doing, and it's, if they say it's insanity to continue to keep doing the same thing, and a lot of writers do, because everybody is doing it. Everybody's on Facebook, and so you get on Facebook and you're like, ain't nobody talking to me on Facebook. This sucks, and you stay on Facebook because everybody's on Facebook, and you say, well, try Clubhouse. I tell people, come over to Clubhouse. Oh, that's another platform. I want to learn that. But why not? You're not getting nobody over here. Go somewhere else. At least I always say, at least try something new, because if you're not getting good results with what you're doing now, then what new is gonna hurt? Yeah. But we get stuck in our own little ways, and then we wonder why we're not selling books, and because we're still stuck in the same spot. And to sell books, you have to move around. So if you're not moving around in your hometown or in somebody's conference or somebody's event, then you got to move around on social media. Same way. It's just like, you can't sit at the table and expect people to come up to you. Most of the time you got to be like, hey, who are you heying to today? A lot of people miss that. What are 3 things you wish you knew before you became published?
Let's see, 3 things. One, how much you have to write to be a romance novelist in today's world. My friends kept up. I went through the whole query thing, and my friends said, just self-publish. And then I didn't realize that these people are putting out in 6 months 4 or 5 books. And I'm like, how do they do that? And that's the first thing that I didn't realize, that romance novelists change. They write, independent authors, I think, more, and traditionally write a lot of books.
Mhm. Yep, but I think that you have to choose what works for you. Back in the day, when I first started promoting, romance writers wrote 1 book a year.
Mhm.
I don't know where this came out when you got to have 6 books every 3 months. They try to put somebody in the hospital. Who keeps up with all that? You know, you just drive yourself crazy. And my advice to you is to write what you want to write. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses will have you over there in a chair talking about you quitting. It's just too much.
Yeah, it is. And especially in the African American romance, and that's what I did. I went to Amazon and I look at the top people, and they're like 6 books and like one. I'm like, how do they write a book every other month?
You also got to look at the word count.
Yeah, and that's the next thing I did.
Because a lot of people got these 50-page books. You're like, what? I've watched somebody say they had 30 books. I'm like, dang, she just got started. I'm over here tripping on my little 7. How she got 30 books? And I looked and she had 50-page books, 70-page books, 80-page. Well, heck, yeah, okay. That's like 3 books, 3 books in one. So yes, again, don't keep up with them Joneses, girl. They drive you. You be over here talking about these books ain't never coming out, because I can't keep up with them. Nope, it's hard. What's your other one?
The second thing is how, and I realized from the first time, is that I realize now covers do sell. They are very important, especially in genre writing. The covers are very important. So I realized that I need a good, strong cover. And 3, marketing never ends. It never.
You learned some good lessons. And sometimes it takes some people a long time for that one. You learn some good lessons, but you at it, so you get to you get to make up for your mistakes, and that's what that's a good lesson to learn, is that you can make mistakes. Especially when it comes to books. I've had people who created a whole series, and then they didn't like somebody told them your covers are horrible. And she took the whole cover. She had 6 books. She took the whole cover, got them redone, and hit #1 because she had new covers. Same stories, but people can't get into the story until they get past the cover. And when you're dealing with romance, now other genre people really don't care about the covers, but romance people, we have, especially in African American bit, you think about, we had some really, when they finally decided to get us some books, some African American books, they just put anybody on top of the cover. So the indie authors changed that. They were like, now people going to be looking like who inside the book, So, and when your cover don't match your book, then, the reader is upset. They want to know why. Where did you get this stuff from? Why do you got hamburgers on top of it? It ain't got nothing to do with hamburgers, So you got to be real careful on the covers when you mess with romance readers, because they ain't playing. They don't play. And they will leave it on the shelf. Wouldn't be like, that's an ugly cover. I'm a romance reader, I know. Oh, my goodness. That's funny. All righty. What about you, ma'am? Miss Jamicka, how about you? What you learned? Wish that somebody told you before you got to where you are.
I think for like my first book, I knew that I had to have like a target audience, but I didn't know how deep I needed to go, like within, like knowing about like what's their like favorite thing that they like to do, what are they doing at this time, like be more specific about my target audience than just like, oh, well, I want African American females to read my book. So I had to need to know like what age I'm trying to target to, like very, very detailed about who I need to get my book out to.
Yeah, the marketing part is just like a business. You got to find that avatar. And I say a lot of people don't realize you almost got to take some classes because you be like, okay, who am I for? You know, when people come to me and they tell me my book is for everybody, I'm like, okay, you're not ready. Because everybody gonna have you promoting everywhere, which way loose, and you be crazy talking about ain't nobody listening to me. Because your book is not for everybody. You got to make sure you niche it down for who it's for. That's the hardest part. What else did you learn? What?
Let's see. And so, like, maybe the first couple pages of my book, so even if I didn't like self-publish and I was trying to get it out to a publishing company, those first couple of pages mean a lot. If you can't grasp somebody's attention in those first couple of pages, then they probably won't read the rest of it. So, like, the beginning and the end, if that doesn't catch the reader, then they won't read the rest of your book.
Yeah. I always say that first page, that first 2 pages, I always ask people to read an excerpt. That first 2 pages should make you say, okay, what's the name of that book again? Let me get that. You know, if you be like, okay, thank you. It didn't grab me. I'm sorry. I tell you, I'm all over here emotional. I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's what you want. You want people to get emotional. You want people to go, what did she say? It was a gun or something? What was that? What, lady? No, you didn't end it like that. So, yep, you want to grab them. That's where, if you are dealing with a publisher or if you publishing yourself, because our readers don't pay attention to who the publisher is. They're looking at the book.
Yes.
You know, and that book, if it doesn't grab them, they're going to let you know. I was talking about people writing trash reviews, and I'm like, these readers are ruthless. They don't play.
They don't.
You got to come correct. And if you're going to be look, they're going to tell you this person didn't get their editing done. They don't play. They serious. They spending their money. They want some good products. You know, good customer service. Don't play with them. So you don't have it right, then don't put it out there. I tell people that all the time. If it's not correct, do not put it out there. Do not, because that's your legacy and that's your first impression. So if your first impression is raggedy, what makes you think that's how you building your readership. If your books are raggedy, you will not build a readership because they'll be like, don't get her books. And people talk. They might not put it on social media, but they tell each other, girl, her stuff was a hot mess. And you sitting up there wondering why your book's not selling, and they ain't telling you.
And that's why.
Yeah, sure will. And they tell you in a minute. Then you got to get somebody to come tell you what's wrong, girl. Let me tell you. You know, I've worked with a bunch of people like that. They'd be like, my stuff is not selling. And then I talked to somebody the other day, and she said she put it up there. She hadn't got it edited or anything. I was like, oh, okay. But she had time to pull it down because she hadn't sold anything, so nobody knew it was there. So you can pull it down. You can always correct your stuff. That's the best part about when it's yours. If you work with a publisher, it's a hot mess. The publisher just got it out there. They ain't trying to pull it back. But as an indie author, you can always correct your stuff and put it back out there. You just pray don't a whole bunch of people have it.
Or catch it.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, if you have somebody found some errors, you can correct that. If you're a publisher, it's out there for life. It's never going to change. And so that's the best part for me as an indie author is being able to make corrections if I need to. What about writing do you wish other non-writers would understand?
That it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not as easy as a process as it may seem or as it may look.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how come you can't write them 6 books in 3 months. If you're looking at people like, you wrote how many books?
Yeah.
I'm still working on this one. Dang. And you gonna finish the book? Well, One day.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't really see.
Yeah. No, they just see the finished product. They don't think about what goes into making that product.
Yes.
You know, they just want when is it coming out? When is it done? You still working on it? I get this one. You still working on that little book?
Oh, as soon as you finish the first one, when is the second one coming?
Yeah.
I never ask that of people. Even if the book is good, after I finish reading it and I tell them I loved it or whatever, I never say, well, when the next one coming out? Because I know you got to rest, you got to get ready, you know. But it'd be like, when is the next book coming out? When are you? Now, some people, they take a couple of years, so I can understand people saying that.
Yeah.
You know. Well, what do you guys hope for readers to take away from your books right now that you've written?
Well, I hope that readers would just take away that there are still good African American romance.
Okay.
That we're not. Sometimes we get pigeonholed in writing the same type of book over and over again. But our works are diverse, and there's all different types of African American romance. You shouldn't expect the same style of story every time you pick up a book from a black author.
That's what I love about romance. Is usually it is a different story, you know. So that's good. What about you, Jamicka?
I just want you to know, like, poetry is still up and alive. Like, it's still out here. People still do write poetry. And that is from my books, to let people know that you're not alone. That there's other people out there that can relate to what you're going through. And, like, it's okay. We all go through things. And somebody else is writing about it just so you can get, like, a standpoint and know it's okay, or how to get over it, or how to get through it, just to help other women.
I've been doing this for a long time, and poetry in over the 20 years I've been promoting writers and books. Somebody always has something with poetry. It never goes out of style, you know. And I hear people that say that poetry is hard to sell, mainly because just like any other book, you have to find your audience. So when people say that, I'm like, no, it's all about who your audience is. I went to an event once, and the guy, now it's spoken word. A lot of people do a lot more spoken word. And once they hear your words, they want it, you know. And so you just have to get in front of the people that like poetry, because it's people that like poetry that will buy poetry books and things like that. So when somebody tells me, "Oh, poetry doesn't sell," I said it's just a matter of who you're in front of. Because I was at an event, and this man, I know he sold 50 or 60 books because his stuff was hot, passionate stuff, and women wanted it. You know, he was at a romance event. And he got up and he said one of his poems, and them women was fanning themselves, and they was like, "Where your books at?" And I was like, "Now you say poetry doesn't sell. Tell him that he went home without books." So that's what, you know. It's just a matter of getting in front of the right person, and that's with any book, though. Getting in front of the right person that says, "Oh, I want to read that book," you know. So when people tell poets that, I'll be like, "Don't listen to them, because you just got to find the right reader."
You do.
Yeah. Has anybody ever given you wrong advice? Like that poetry doesn't sell when it comes to your books?
I don't think anybody well, so like the pricing of my book, I've heard like many different things from different people. Yeah, so I'm just like, some people say don't be like super expensive about your work. And then I've heard some like charge like a $20 flat fee. And yeah, I've just gotten a whole lot of different things price-wise about how much you should charge for your work.
Yeah. I'd be skeptical about the people who tell you to do it for free. That still drives me. Just give it away. No. You will never work. You will never work. Be full-time writer giving your work for free.
So
It never works that way. I don't know why people do that, but So does writing energize you or exhaust you?
I would say it energizes me. I love it. So it's something, like I said, I always wanted to do. It's kind of my break from, I read a lot of nonfiction because I teach, so I just love to just and write something fiction to get my mind off all the papers I have to grade. And
yeah, I can imagine. I have much respect for teachers right now.
Yes.
Are you virtual or are you in school?
I was one of those people who volunteered to do both.
Oh my gosh! They have both.
Yeah, Georgia, we have a choice. Some people will prefer online. We call hybrid learning. They're not in that class all the time. Half is online, and half is in class.
Okay. Yeah, my son called himself going back to school. He did it one day. I keep getting messages wondering if he's going to come back. I laughed because he can't even handle going to virtual school. So I said, "How are you going to go to regular school?" And I'm going. And he got there, and all his friends had went back, and so he wanted to go back too. But it wasn't as lovely as he thought it was going to be, I guess. So I told him, I said, "You're going back for the fourth quarter. We're going to get you up every morning and get you to school." He's like, oh no. I'm like, no.
Back into the normal routine.
Yep.
Yeah, because he is, oh my God, I don't even know how he's going to make it through 8th grade. Just they're going to pass him on his good looks because it's not for coming to school. That's for sure.
Yeah. I wonder how it's going to be a change when everybody goes back in the fall. You get used to not getting up at this early in the morning and staying there all day. So
they have spoiled a lot of these kids, and so a lot of parents is like we at the point like we just don't care. Just what I told them, I already done graduated, so that's all you do. So it's all you do. So you. What about you, Jamicka? Does it energize you or exhaust you writing?
It energizes. It's like my escape. So when I feel like I just need to get away or just release, I just write, and so it helps. So it's energizing, but also my escape.
I like that too. I like to escape into my characters. Helps sometimes. Yep. So do you think a big ego helps or hurts a writer?
I don't have one, so I wouldn't know.
I've met some people with some huge egos. I'm like, okay, that's how you do it, huh?
I guess it can be a little bit of both. Yeah, I'm like Michelle. I don't have a big ego either. So.
Yeah,
but I guess
I had
they're
a big
confident.
Ego. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I do think sometimes you have to have a little bit more confidence to be, especially self-published. You really got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you do. You do. To push those books out of the closet because it's hard. It's hard to. You have to believe in it because it's going to take a minute to get those people to buy them. So
yeah,
it's like then you're coming out the box. That's why I always say to build. If you can build your readership before the book comes out, then you're not just releasing to nobody. You want to release at least to 25 people. Somebody.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's sad. It's really a sad day. Do you read your book reviews?
Sometimes.
That's when the ego comes in.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But I always take the best advice I got for someone that I'm not $100 bill. Everybody's not gonna like me, so because I have read books and I didn't like them at all too, so I understand.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. Yep. I was reading reviews, and people are just horrible when it comes to reviews or what they write. So you have to either say, okay, I'm just going to look at it and keep it moving. Do not respond to that. Don't get feelings. I tell my clients, just have your pity day and then move on, because it's just one person's opinion, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to make or break you. And I always tell my one of the ladies gave one of my clients a 1, and she was really upset and everything. And she says, I don't understand why she keeps, this is the same person, keeps buying my books. I said, here's the deal. She's buying your books. Who cares if she likes it or not?
Right. Like she already bought it.
Because she didn't buy it. She didn't ask for a refund. You know, that's when you when you get mad. But she ain't asking for a refund. She's just buying the books, you know. And sometimes I think some people just buy books trash books just to be trashing them. But I'm like, if she'd have bought all your books, don't worry about it.
That's right.
It's something that she likes about it, because if I don't like you, I'm not going to continue to keep buying your books. So it's something that she likes about it. She keeps buying them.
Yeah. That's true. And I always call it the Tyler Perry effect. Tyler Perry knows everybody doesn't like his work, but he still makes movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I have more power for him, because he knows who his audience is, you know, and people are like, he needs to do this, and he's like, you know, you choose who your audience is, and he makes movies for the, you know, people who like goofy stuff, you know, and you know, you watch it, everybody would talk about it like a dog, but they still watch it. I don't think I've met anybody who has not watched it, you know, and so he's like, hey, he has built studios because of people liking his stuff. So he ain't getting mad at y'all. Y'all want to talk about him? He's like, I'm laughing right on to the bank. What you do? You talking all this mess, how horrible my movies are, you know, and I'm thinking, is this a whole bunch of horrible people movies? But he continues to make movies. He gives people jobs, you know. That's what you should look at. But we always see the negative side.
And it's still like publicity.
Oh, it's lots of publicity, because you're going to go see it.
You're just making people want to go see it.
Yeah, what was that? You know, he made a TV show, and everybody talked about the lady's hair. So, you know, everybody want to go see what's wrong with her hair. What was your greatest roadblock, and how did you overcome it?
For me, I think mine was myself.
Okay.
I talked myself out of, like, my first book, I sat on it for a very long time. And because I was so afraid of, like, what other people would say or what people would think if they wouldn't like it, I hindered myself from putting it out and from, like, even letting anybody read it for a good amount of time. So it would be myself.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with that, so I understand.
My turn. I would say our biggest roadblock. Same. I think it was the need for other validation. That's why I think I queried so long to publishing companies and did it for years. And like I said, it took people, my friends, to say, hey, you could do it. Everybody else is doing it. You could do it too. So I guess myself was the biggest roadblock, and thinking I need a major publisher to be a real author.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that issue for a long time. I wanted, because when I started, that was the big deal, was to get a publisher. So, you know, you have to be a publisher. I always tell this story of, I had a writer's group, and this one man came in. He had self-published his book, and he told us to pick one person and publish their book, and whatever money I make off of it, you take that money and publish the next book. And we looked at him like he done lost his mind. I remember him saying that to us, and I was like, he crazy. When he left, we all like, he crazy. Nobody. We waiting on for the publishers. What's that?
Yeah.
That's, you know. And so, you know, 10 years later, one of the guys that was in the group, he started self-publishing, and he goes, man, why didn't we listen to Mr. Peoples? I said, I don't know. He's crazy. But, you know, he he wanted us to believe in ourselves, and we weren't at that stage yet. We wanted to be validated, and I remember when I got validated, it was not a big deal. You know, I got the call. I was excited about the call and everything, but I was like, I had already published my book, so I was like, they're not really doing more than I can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, what's the big deal? I'm still going to have to market it. You know, that's the thing that people think, because you with a publisher, you ain't got to market, honey. You got to market even more if you want to keep your contract. You know, and I tell people that all the time. Don't think just because you got a publisher that you ain't going to do no promotion. Honey, that's 3 times more with a publisher, because they looking at you like, I'm going to need them sales. What people at? You know, at least with yourself, you can put it, you can go sit down on the couch and go, I don't care if anybody buy my book. When you're with a publisher, you're like, I got to keep this contract. Oh, my God, what I got to do? Everybody buy these books. You know, it's even more stress. So
you can lose money that way, too.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. So you have to be, you know, think about what the validation is. Is it really a validation?
Yeah, that's true,
you know?
Yeah,
you know, you drive yourself crazy, because I know I did for years. I kept my books in the closet thinking, oh, ain't nobody going to read this stuff, and I'll just write for myself. And so, you know, I'm moving past that slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So is the published life what you thought it would be?
Like you said, it is hard work, but I'm finding I enjoy it. It's kind of funny. I think if someone offered me a publishing deal, I would actually have to think about it, because I really enjoy just doing it on my own. I'm learning so much, and I control the product, and so it's a lot of work, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the same too. Yeah, like I do. I enjoy it. And just like she's also the fact of like, it's mine and I have control over it. And just like seeing people that I can reach, and that like I can help somebody else just through what I'm writing. Just when I was like sitting at my desk writing about stuff that happened in my life, like that it helped somebody too. So that's been like a great and big takeaway for me.
Yeah, I think that the control is very important. You don't realize how much it is until somebody take it away, and then you're like, ooh. What do you mean I can't do this? I see that a lot with people, and it's like, you know, they're really angry because they gave up so much. You know, you give up a lot of freedom when you work with somebody else. So you got to be real selective of what is it that I always tell my clients, what is it that you really want from your books? Because, you know, we're in condition that, you know, being with a publisher is the top of the chart, but I've met a lot of people who are not very happy with being with a publisher. You know, or they have control over when you can get your books, when you can't get the books. And I've had a couple of people who were at events and the publishers didn't send the books, so they're sitting there with no books. You know, you pay for it. You know, if you indie author, you already know your books ain't coming, so you be like, girl, I can't come. I will not be coming this weekend. Refund my money, or can I sell it to somebody else? Because I don't have no books. Ain't no way I'm coming up there sitting down and no books. You know.
I know, yeah.
You know, the publisher, you don't know till you get there, and you're like, what? The books didn't come? What do you mean they didn't come? You know, I've had a couple of friends that did that, and it was like, wow. Or they tell you they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff for you, then when you get there, you're like, they ain't doing nothing. They ain't paying for nothing. I got to pay for everything, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be, you know, that's the back end of the stories that they don't tell you about when it comes to being a writer. It's great. It's really great if you got a good publisher, but there's some sad stories too.
Yeah, I was one of my girlfriends. We were real big writing, and one of the reasons I wanted to write, because back in the late 90s and 2000, all I did was buy black authors, and we were just talking like, what happened to those people? I don't see any of them.
They lost their contracts.
Yeah, I was like,
a lot of people lost their contracts.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their contracts, and then everybody went to ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're making $25 for a hard copy book, then you go down to $2.99. You made a lot of money. And that's how come a lot of the publishers went out of business, because ebooks put a big dent in the publishing business. It made it a lot more easier to get copies of books, but it took the money down. People are selling ebooks. I meet people that's like, oh, I'm selling thousands of ebooks, but if you're just getting a penny off of it, you're not really getting a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to, that helped hurt the industry a lot. And then it was, it's been divided for so long that it was hard for African Americans to get into, and then when they did get into it, only certain select people can, and then you got a lot of animosity against that, because how come only certain people can get in? We got one person writing historicals when there's 50 other people writing historicals.
Yeah, true, true.
And it's just been we've had a hard journey, but what I love about it is that the writers didn't give up. For years. I remember when there weren't any African American romances, and then all of a sudden we just got a whole bunch of them.
Yes, we
did.
You did.
Now, yeah, and now I can't even name all of them. When I first started my magazine, we probably had 20. I knew all of them, knew where they were, how to get to them, and when their books was coming out. Now we have hundreds of them. And I think that's beautiful. When people tell us we don't have diverse books, I just look. I'm like, where are y'all looking at? Because there's some diverse. We have. Here's the thing: is that diverse books aren't mainstream.
That's
but
true.
We have hundreds of authors who are out here doing that thing. They doing it. Yeah, you just don't know their names because they're not mainstream. But we have hundreds of beautiful authors out here, beautiful stories. We are very diverse, so I get offended when people say we need more diverse books. I'm like, yeah, I just need to buy them. They out here.
Yeah.
They've been out here for 20 plus years. I know. I've been promoting it for 20 plus years. The writers are here. Yeah, and go check them out. Give them a chance. I've read, somebody was saying who their favorite writers were, and none of them were African American, and I was like, even after 20-some years, you got one favorite African American? You still stuck on Stephen King? I love Stephen King, but you still stuck on him?
Yeah.
You haven't tried none of our people? But a lot of people, I remember when romance first started, the black romances, my friends didn't read it. They were like, that stuff is not real. Nobody want to read about that. I was like, wow. I got into a big argument with one lady, and she said that romance has hurt Christian women and made them believe that there was decent men out there, and they're not like that.
Oh, no.
We got into a big one over that one. I was like, excuse me? So we just making up men? They don't. I said, see, that's the problem. There is some real men out there. There are men who take care of their women and fall in love with and treat them like queens. There are some men like that. We just settle for these bums. and that's all y'all know. Some idiots who think you owe them your stimulus check. I'm still upset about that. That just hurt our system, that you think that just because you made a baby, you entitled to some chicks.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are not in the romance novels, and we don't want to read about them.
But you know what? The little trick I learned is that I put that person in the novel so he could be the romantic foil to when she finds the good one. So I do it like that.
Yeah, that's the only way he up in that book. Yeah. The one that you like, I'm going to need you to leave him alone. Do you see Sam over there? He's like, let's go to Sam. Leave that fool alone. You do have to have people like that so you know when you have somebody good. Because sometimes I think that's what the problem is. We have a lot of women don't have the good. They ain't never seen the good. So they didn't understand. See, I was raised on romance, so I knew there was some good ones out there. I know ain't nobody making this stuff up for, they making it's in their head, but they know, but that's because they've met some people like that. That was my hope. That was my hope until I met my husband. I was like, yeah, I knew I was going to get a hero because there's some heroes out here. We just got to keep looking, you know. Don't think that they're not. They are. You don't have to settle because you think that romances are not reality. That's what the lady told me. I said, why not? Why couldn't it be the reality? Why do you think that? But then again, they were reading the 80s books, the 70s books, the people, you know. No, that's not. No, nobody want to swash no man from the pirates come and steal me away and stuff like that. That's not the black romance. I need you to read a book because you don't understand.
Yeah, and that's why I used to love people like Donna Hill, and she was one of my favorites. She always did a good job of that, you know. Yeah. I call it the fluffy ones because now people write a little bit more reality. Back when the first set of books came out, the dude was a little rich, you know. So, you know, he's the billionaire or something like that. But I just like those type of stories because I've already, you know, most of the guys, you dating the broke guy. You don't want to read about the broke guy. It's a shame. Right.
You dating the guy when my mother used to say, he has potential. Oh, no, he don't have potential. He need to go back to his mama couch. You know, but I think so many people stereotype romance so badly. Whenever they do something on the news, they always go back to, what's the dude's name? Fabio. And I'm like, dude, ain't nobody wrote a book like Fabio in 50 million years. 40, 50 years, Fabio is probably 90 now, so that tell you how long it's been since somebody wrote a book like that. And that's when I say, you guys ain't even did your research to know what type of books they are. Oh, this thing have everybody with the man with no shirt on. I said, most of the books, all the men have on clothes. So what books are y'all looking at? She's like, where are y'all at? But that's because we put a stereotype in their head, and that's all they want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that we have these romance writers out here who are showing them that you are wrong. Check out these delicious books. All right, ladies, I have enjoyed talking to you tonight. Can you tell us how we can get in touch with you online? You got quiet on me. You don't want us to know?
well, I'm on Twitter. You can have a Twitter at Turner LaShelle.
Mhm. Okay.
And I have a web page, LaShelle L Turner.
Okay.
So I am on Facebook and Instagram and Clubhouse as Jamicka Lakeya.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I hope that our guest shared with you today was I can't even talk. I hope what my guest shared with you today was helpful. I want to thank our sponsors using Canva for book promotion video series. Check the show notes for the link to purchase. I want to thank you, our listeners, for taking time to listen to the podcast. I have 3 questions for you. Did you enjoy this podcast? Subscribe to the platform you're listening to so you don't miss an episode. Number 2, what did you think of this episode? Tell us by writing a review on the platform you're listening to or send to onesormag@gmail.com. 3, did you learn something from this episode? If you did, please share the podcast with your community. Would you like to be a guest for an episode? Contact me at onesormag@gmail.com. One last question. Have you promoted your books or business today? If you haven't, go showcase those wings. Someone needs what you have to offer. This is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I will see you on the next.